Okay, good evening everybody. Okay, this session looks at how to draw the ray diagram for lenses. Like I mentioned before, we have actually 6 cases here, and out of these 6 cases, all of these 6 cases have predetermined outcome. Okay, so I will actually advise students after watching the video to look at how I draw the ray diagram, to actually carry on to practice the ray drawing diagram for all the remaining 5 diagrams. One of the main reasons is actually to allow students to, like yourself, to familiarize yourself to draw the ray diagram, because in exam the markers actually require you to draw the ray diagram as a working, okay, to highlight to the marker to see to illustrate to the marker how you actually get the image of the object based on the question. Okay, without further ado, okay, I will move on to pick up one example, okay, from all of these 6 cases here. Okay, I will look at the 4th case here, whereby the object is actually in between F and 2F. Okay, I will outline the 3 steps, how I use the ray diagrams, the 3 steps to actually locate the image of the object itself. Okay, like I mentioned, I will use case number 4, okay, as the example here, whereby the object is actually in between F and 2F. Okay, the predetermined outcome is actually in the notes, whereby I will actually know that the image distance formed is actually more than 2F. So based on the questions that's given, you actually should produce your ray diagrams, your rays, your image, such that the image that you achieve after drawing should conform to the outcome listed, which is image more than 2F. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how we can actually use the ray diagram to get the answer that we want. Okay, now before we start the ray drawing diagram, it's important to identify or to actually outline the necessary drawing board that we have. Okay, the line with double arrow is a symbol for lenses, and the horizontal straight line that we have is the principal axis, and on the principal axis we usually have to mark out our focal point, which is denoted by F. 2F just means that it's double the focal point. Okay, so as you recall, there's 3 rays that we can actually draw. We have ray 1, which pass through optical center, ray 2, which is parallel to the principal axis and it will cut focal point, ray 3, it will cut focal point and it will emerge parallel to the principal axis. For any ray drawing diagram, out of these 3 rays, you only need 2 rays, because like I mentioned in the video before, the intersection of any 2 rays will give you the location of the image. So as a rule of thumb, there is no best 2 ray to draw. You yourself must be familiarized with the 3 rays, and from there you actually pick the 2 best rays to draw that allow you to finish your drawing or locate the image as fast as you can. Among all the 3 rays, if you really need me to prioritize, I would actually say always draw ray 1 first. Okay, ray 1 always works in all situations. Ray 2 and ray 3, it depends on situation. Some may or may not work. For example, ray 3 require you to cut the optical point and hits the light ray before it emerges. But what happens if your object is in front of the optical point, the focal point? In this case, your ray 3 will not be able to give you anything. Okay, so rule of thumb, okay, ray 1 we will always use ray 1. Ray 2 or ray 3, you have to make a choice, make a decision to see which is more suitable. Okay, so now let's look at it. Now my object is denoted by O, which is this arrow here. So what I do is I will actually draw ray number 1 first. Ray number 1, as you recall, it will cut the optical center here. Optical center of the lens here, which is denoted by C. Okay, it will cut straight through. Okay, so I'll choose the tip. It will cut straight through the optical center. Okay, and you'll go on straight without any bending. So I will just go straight through. Okay, take a look. You cut through optical point, you will just go straight through. Remember, draw your arrow to denote your straight line is actually a light ray. So what you have done is you actually draw the first light ray. This will be your ray number 1. Okay, ray number 1. ray number 2, okay, I will choose ray number 2, okay, whereby the ray number 2 means that the ray is parallel to the principal axis, okay, take note it's parallel, okay, my ray number 2, it must be parallel, okay, so take note that your ray 2 must be parallel, and upon exiting the lens, it will actually intersect, and it will actually cut, okay, my focal point F. Okay, take a look, it will cut my focal point F, okay, and it will continue. Okay, so remember, put the arrowhead here, okay, to symbolize ray diagram. So with this, I have actually completed my ray number 2. Okay, so I repeat again, ray 1, okay, ray 2. Intersection of these two rays will give us the image, which is, take a look at here. Okay, this is the intersection point that I'm talking about. So this intersection point is actually the image of my source, okay, my tip of the arrow, so which is here. Okay, so my image will actually be upside down, okay, will be inverted, okay, and we will actually be here. Okay, now after that, once you have the image, double check and triple check, okay, make sure that the outcome is actually the same as your predetermined outcome. Okay, so what we have is the predetermined outcome in the textbook, in your notes, is actually telling us that the image distance should be more than 2f. So you double check your image, is it more than 2f? Is it further? Yes, it is beyond 2f, so it's actually more than 2f. So take a look, this is my image distance, this is my object distance, which is my u, this is my object distance, and this will be my image distance, okay, which is denoted by my v, okay, which is more than 2f. The other characteristic that you can check is that the image, based on the notes or based on the textbook, you'll find that the property of this particular location, the image is more than 2f, you have another checkpoint. You will know that the image is actually magnified. So let's double check your object. This is the height, which is 2, I would say it's a 2 unit here. My image is 2 unit more, or I would say 2.5 units. Okay, so which means my object is 2 unit, my image is 2.5 units. So I can safely say that my image has actually magnified. Okay, so if you have checked these two, you'll find that your answer will actually be the same as the predetermined one. So you are safe to say that your answer, your ray diagram, is actually the correct ray diagram. Okay, but do take note, sometimes because of like maybe a slight carelessness or this thing, your ray, example, your ray 2 might not be 100% parallel, or maybe your ray 1 might actually be shifted away, it might not be straight through, the image form might differ. So in this type of case, okay, it's actually your duty to actually amend the ray diagram, to tweak it, to make sure it is actually the correct ray diagram. Okay, how do we know your answer is wrong? Because I know that the predetermined answer is actually more than 2f and is magnified. So there are various checkpoints that you can do. Okay, so please double check. Okay, now what happened here is, what happened if you don't choose ray number 2? Let's say after drawing ray number 1, you decided to draw ray number 3. So if you draw ray number 1 and you decide to draw ray number 3, by all means go ahead. Okay, so let's take a look. So for example, if I draw ray number 3, it should come from the source, and it should cut my focal point, and it should reach the lens, and the outcome, it should be parallel to the principal axis. So let's take a look here. Okay, I will cut my focal point. Okay, so this is ray number 3. Okay, cut my focal point, remember, put the arrow. Upon exiting the lens, it will actually be parallel to my principal axis. Okay, so this will be ray number 3. You find that whether you use ray 1 or ray 3, ray 1 or ray 2, okay, the outcome actually is the same. You will end up with the same image, okay, at the same location. So there is no, I will not say that there's any preferences whether you use ray 1 and ray 2 or ray 1 and ray 3, or sometimes we have ray 2 and even ray 3. Okay, as long as what we call you have two rays. Okay, I need two rays. Okay, and the intersection of the two rays will actually form the answer, or form the location of the image itself. Okay, so this is what I mean by using the three rays to locate the image, and this is what we call the ray diagrams for lenses. Okay, so to be naggy, okay, students, I hope from this video you can actually use this video, use the technique that I've shown, use the steps that I've shown, okay, and practice on the other 5 remaining pictures or 5 remaining case, okay, because it's most important that you actually know how to draw them. It looks easy when I do this, because I've been drawing ray diagram for the past 20 years. Okay, but for you, it is the first time, it could be the second time, but you will not have enough experience. So my advice is, please try and practice and practice. Okay, if not, if you have any questions, just feel free to leave your question in the comments below. Okay, and remember to subscribe to my video to check out for new notifications or new updates when I have video uploaded. Okay, that might be useful for you. Okay, see you.